Again, welcome to IT 3125 Information Project Management. This is Unit 2, Chapter 7 of the textbook. I'm Dr. Lauren Walker, the core faculty lead for the Project Management Specialty in the School of Technology at Capella University. I've created this PowerPoint video to supplement and reinforce reading the book. It is not a substitute for reading the book. However, it'll give you the ability to review the materials either in the course room or on YouTube or using a portable electronic device. Any additions I make to the slides are in my audio comments. The PowerPoints were supplied with the book. In this chapter, we're looking at the practice of cost management. The importance of cost management. IT projects have a poor track record for meeting budget goals. The chaos studies found the average cost overrun, the additional percentage or dollar amount by which actual costs exceed estimates, ranged from 180% in 1994 to 43% in 2010. A 2011 Harvard Business Review study reported an average cost overrun of 27%. The most important finding was the discovery of a large number of gigantic overages or black swans. What went wrong? The U.S. government, especially the IRS, continues to provide examples of how not to manage costs. A series of project failures by the IRS in the 1990s cost taxpayers more than $50 billion a year. In 2006, the IRS was in the news for a botched upgrade to its fraud detection software, costing $318 million in fraudulent refunds that didn't get caught. A 2008 Government Accountability Office, the GAO, report stated that more than 400 U.S. government agency IT projects worth an estimated $25 billion suffer from poor planning and underperformance. The United Kingdom's National Health Service IT modernization program was called the greatest IT disaster in history, with an estimated $26 billion overrun. It was finally scrapped in 2007. So notice that the lack of planning is a big part of the failure here, and perhaps in the UK's National Health Service project, it could be a scope issue. So what is cost and project management? Cost is a resource sacrificed or foregone to achieve a specific objective or something given up in exchange. Costs are usually measured in monetary units like dollars. Project cost management includes the processes required to ensure that the project is completed within an approved budget. Planning cost management. Here are some of the processes. Well, with planning cost management, determining the policies, procedures, and documentation that will be used for planning, executing, and controlling project costs. Estimating costs, developing an approximation or estimate of the cost of the resources needed to complete a project. Determining the budget, allocating the overall cost estimate to individual work items to establish a baseline for measuring performance. Controlling costs, controlling changes to the project budget. Notice that this aligns with the major process areas of the Project Management Book of Knowledge, or PMBOK, which are, again, initiate, plan, execute, monitor, control, and close. In Figure 7-1, Project Cost Management Summary, notice that the estimation is a big part of the project cost management. Getting reasonable and accurate estimates from the team members and stakeholders is important to put together a realistic budget. Basic principles of cost management. Most members of an executive board better understand and are more interested in financial terms than IT terms. So IT project managers must speak their language. Profits are revenues minus expenditures. Profit margin is the ratio of revenues to cost, or revenues to profits, Life cycle costing considers the total cost of ownership or development plus support costs for a project. Cash flow analysis determines the estimated annual costs and benefits for a project and the resulting annual cash flow. Again, the project manager needs to be the translator in this case, giving the financial people an understanding of why IT resources cost as much as they do, and also have a firm grasp on financial terminology to understand where the financial people are coming from. Notice here in Table 7-1 the cost of downtime for IT applications. Notice how expensive and mission-critical information technology has become in most of the commerce we do today. Simply put, if the computer system goes down, you'll be sending people home shortly because no one will be able to perform their job. What went right? Many organizations use IT to reduce operational costs. Technology has decreased the costs associated with processing an ATM transaction. In 1968, it was at $5. Now it just costs about half a penny in 2008. Investing in green IT and other initiatives has helped both environment and companies' bottom lines. Michael Dell, CEO of Dell, reached his goal to make his company carbon neutral in 2008. As of March 2012, Dell has helped its customers save almost $7 billion in energy costs. Some of the types of costs and benefits. Tangible costs or benefits are those costs or benefits that an organization can easily measure in dollars. Intangible costs or benefits that are difficult to measure in monetary terms. Direct costs are costs that can be directly related to producing the products and services of the project. Indirect costs are costs that are not directly related to the products or services of the project, but are indirectly related to performing the project. Sunk costs is money that has been spent in the past. When deciding what projects to invest in or continue, you should not include sunk costs. Some more basic principles of cost management. Learning curve theory states that when many items are produced repetitively, the unit cost of those items decreases in a regular pattern as more units are produced. Reserves are dollars included in a cost estimate to mitigate cost risk by allowing for future situations that are difficult to predict. Contingency reserves allow for future situations that may be partially planned for, sometimes called known unknowns, and are included in the project cost baseline. Management reserves allow for future situations that are unpredictable, sometimes called unknown unknowns. Planning cost management. The project team uses expert judgment, analytical techniques, and meetings to develop the cost management plan. It includes level of accuracy and unit of measure, organizational procedure links, control thresholds, rules of performance measurement, reporting formats, and process descriptions. Also, another approach is to use the final costs of previous projects that have similar goals and resources. Estimating costs. Project managers must take cost estimates seriously if they want to complete projects within budget constraints. It's important to know the types of cost estimates, how to prepare cost estimates, and typical problems associated with IT cost estimates. The old adage of time is money is especially important for a project manager to remember when estimating costs, but also to make sure that the estimates are realistic and making sure that management is aware of any changes that need to be made in order to cover the additional costs of the project. In Table 7-2, Types of Cost Estimates, in this table, notice that the accuracy of the types of estimates being made increases as one goes further into the project life cycle, and that early on in many projects, the rough order of magnitude, or ROM, is what the project manager has to work with, since there is some information missing at this point. More on cost estimates. The number and type of cost estimates vary by application area. For example, the Association for the Advancement of Cost Engineering International identifies 5 types of cost estimates for construction projects: order of magnitude, conceptual, preliminary, definitive, and control. Estimates are usually done at various stages of a project and should become more accurate as time progresses. A large percentage of total project costs are often labor costs. In Table 7-3, FTE means full-time equivalent staff, which usually equates to 40 hours a week. This is the ResNet project that Northwest Airlines was running. It shows a 5-year project with a number of people available in each department to perform on the project. This will give the project manager an idea of the constraints they have to deal with when putting together a project plan and what resources they'll have for their project team. Cost estimation tools and techniques. Basic tools and techniques for cost estimates. Analogous or top-down estimates. Use the actual cost of a previous similar project as a basis for estimating the cost of the current project. Bottom-up estimates involve estimating individual work items or activities and summing them to get a project total. Parametric modeling uses project characteristics or parameters in a mathematical model to estimate project costs. Typical problems with IT cost estimates. Estimates are done too quickly. People lack estimating experience. Human beings are biased towards underestimation, and management desires accuracy. When it says management desires accuracy, it means that they will be on the lookout for any padding done on the budget. Usually, if a project manager puts in a contingency fund for cost overruns, management will now not allow this, thinking it is a slush fund. Sample cost estimate. If you look at pages 284 to 289 for a detailed example of creating a cost estimate for the Surveyor Pro project described in the opening case. Before creating an estimate, know what it will be used for. Gather as much information as possible and clarify the ground rules and assumptions for the estimate. If possible, estimate costs by major WBS categories. Create a cost model to make it easy to make changes to and document the estimate. Here in Figure 7-2, Surveyor Pro Project Cost Estimate, notice in this case that the cost estimate is aligned with the work breakdown structure. This assists the project manager in determining what has been accomplished in the project. In other words, measuring project progress. In Figure 7-3, Surveyor Pro Software Development Estimate, here's another view of the same project, only using function point analysis as a basis for the cost estimate. A function point analysis is based on how many different milestone items are being created in a system. Notice the external inputs, files, output, queries, and tables that will be used in this project to complete the development of the software program. Determining the budget. Cost budgeting involves allocating the project cost estimate to individual work items over time. The work breakdown structure, or WBS, is a required input to the cost budgeting process since it defines the work items. The important goal is to produce a cost baseline, a time-phased budget the project managers use to measure and monitor cost performance. In Figure 7-4, you'll see that this is a cost baseline. Notice in the spreadsheet how the WBS items are identified in the leftmost column and the number of weeks, 12 in this case, are the columns in it. Notice that the cost expenditures peak in week 5, so the execution phase of the project starts in week 2 and continues through week 8. Then in week 9, people are trained on the new application. Media snapshot. U.S. President Barack Obama successfully used the media and information technology in his campaign. The Obama campaign used 16 different online social platforms to interact with people of various backgrounds. Sources say 80% of all contributions originated from these social networks. In a 60 Minutes episode shortly after the election, campaign leaders discussed some of the details of the campaign. The website My Barack Obama was created to develop an online community with over 1 million members. Controlling costs. Project costs include monitoring cost performance, ensuring that only appropriate project changes are included in a revised cost baseline, informing project stakeholders of authorized changes to the project that will affect cost. Many organizations around the globe have problems with cost control. Earned Value Management, or EVM. EVM is a project performance measurement technique that integrates scope, time, and cost data. Given a baseline, or the original plan plus approved changes, you can determine how well the project is meeting its goals. You must enter actual information periodically to use EVM. More and more organizations around the world are using EVM to help control project costs. So, Here are some of the EVM terms. The planned value, or PV, formerly called the budgeted cost of work schedule, or BCWS, also called the budget, is that portion of the approved total cost estimate planned to be spent on activity during a given period. Actual cost, or AC, formerly called actual cost of work performed, is the total of direct and indirect costs incurred in accomplishing work on an activity during a given period. The earned value, EV, formerly called the budgeted cost of work performed, or BCWP, is an estimate of the value of the physical work actually completed. Earned value is based on the original planned cost for the project or activity and the rate at which the team is completing work on the project or activity to date. Rate of performance is the ratio of actual work completed to the percentage of work planned to have been completed at any given time during the life of the project or activity. Brenda Taylor, Senior Project Manager in South Africa, suggests this term and approach for estimating earned value. For example, suppose the server installation was halfway completed by the end of week 1. The rate of performance would be 50% because by the end of week 1, the planned schedule reflects that the task should be 100% complete and only 50% of that week has been completed. So here in Table 7-4, we're looking at the planned value, or PV, also called the budget, is a portion of the approved total cost estimate planned to be spent on an activity during a given period. So in Table 7-4 again shows an example of earned value calculations. Suppose that a project included a summary activity of purchasing and installing a new web server. Suppose further that, according to the plan, it would take 1 week and a cost of $10,000 for the labor hours, hardware, and software. Therefore, the planned value for the activity that week is $10,000. The actual cost is the total direct and indirect costs incurred in accomplishing work on an activity during a given period. For example, suppose that it actually took 2 weeks and cost $20,000 to purchase and install the new web server. Assume that 15,000 of these actual costs were incurred during week 1 and 5,000 was incurred during week 2. These amounts are the actual costs for the activity each week. The earned value, or EV, is an estimate of the value of the physical work actually completed. EV is based on the original planned cost for the project or activity and the rate at which the team is completing the work on the project or activity to date. The rate of performance, or RP, is the ratio of actual work completed to the percentage of work planned to have been completed at any given time during the life of the project or activity. For example, suppose that the server installation was halfway completed by the end of week 1. The rate of performance would be 50% because by the end of week 1, the planned schedule reflects that the task should be complete, but only 50% of the work has been completed. And again, in Table 7-4, the earned value estimate after 1 week is therefore $5,000. The earned value calculations in Table 7-4 are carried out as follows. EV is 10,000 times 50%, or 5,000. CV, or cost variance, is 5,000 minus 15,000, which results in a negative 10,000. SV is equal to 5,000 minus 10,000, or a negative 5,000. The indexes are that's the schedule variance, cost performance index, or CPI, is at 33%, which is 5,000 divided by 15,000. And SPI, the schedule performance index, SPI, is at 50%, which is 5,000 divided by 10,000. Again, here are some of the earned value formulas in Table 7-5 and how you would come up with the calculations. So here are some rule of thumbs for earned valued numbers. Negative numbers for costs and schedule variance indicate problems in those areas. CPI and SPI less than 100% indicate problems. Problems mean the project is costing more than planned, or is over budget, or taking longer than planned, behind schedule. The CPI can be used to calculate the estimate at completion, or EAC, an estimate of what it will cost to complete the project based on performance to date. The budget at completion, or BAC, is the original total budget for the project. So here in Figure 7-5, we have an earned value chart for a project after 5 months. Looking at earned value, it looks like we're pretty much on track through the first 5 months of this project. Notice actual costs, though, look like they're going a little bit out, are a little bit higher than estimated at this point in time. Global issues. EVM is used worldwide and is particularly popular in the Middle East, South Asia, Canada, and Europe. Most countries require EVM for large defense or government projects, as shown in Figure 7-6. EVM is also used in such private industry sectors as IT, construction, energy, and manufacturing. However, most private companies have not yet applied EVM to their projects because management does not require it, feeling it too complex and not cost-effective. So notice again here in this bar chart that most everyone uses earned value management, but the most it's actually used is, for example, in this case, defense government projects, and it's just a little bit over 50% at this time. But again, it's being adopted more and more. Project portfolio management. Many organizations collect and control an entire suite of projects or investments as one set of interrelated activities in a portfolio. So, the 5 levels for project portfolio management. Pull all your projects in one database. Prioritize the projects in your database. Divide your projects into 2 or 3 budgets based on the type of investment. Automate the repository. Apply modern portfolio theory, including risk-return tools that map project risk on a curve. Schlumberger saved $3 million in 1 year by organizing 120 information technology projects into a portfolio. ROI, or return on investment, of implementing portfolio management software by IT departments, gained savings of 6.5% of the average annual IT budget by the end of year 1, improved annual average project timeliness by 45.2%, reduced IT management time spent on project status reporting by 43%, and IT labor capitalization reporting by 55%. Decreased the time to achieve financial sign-off for new IT projects by 20.4%, or 8.4 days. A best practice. A global survey released by Borland Software in 2006 suggests that many organizations are still at a low level of maturity in terms of how they define project goals, allocate resources, and measure overall success of their information technology portfolios. Some of the findings include the following. Only 22% of survey respondents reported that their organization either effectively or very effectively used a project plan for managing projects. Only 17% have either rigorously or very rigorously vigorous processes for project plans, which include developing a baseline and estimating schedule, cost, and business impact of projects. And only 20% agreed that organizations monitor portfolio progress and coordinate across interdependent projects. So we're on our way, but again, it isn't as widespread as one would hope. Using software to assist in cost management. Spreadsheets are a common tool for resource planning, cost estimating, cost budgeting, and cost control. Many companies use more sophisticated and centralized financial application software for cost information. Project management software has many cost-related features, especially enterprise project management software. Portfolio management software can help reduce costs as well. So in this chapter, project cost management is a traditionally weak area of IT projects, and project managers must work to improve their ability to deliver projects within approved budgets. The main processes include project cost management, estimate costs, determine the budget, and then control the costs. Again, I hope you found this helpful. What did you like? What didn't you like? What needs to be improved? please feel free to send me some comments and suggestions to lauren.walker@capella.edu.